Okay, so we are back, and to complete our discussion on deferrals, we shall now be solving the long problems that we had in the practice set. Okay, let's start with basic company. So, basic company's unadjusted trial balance for the year ended December 31, 2019 showed an unearned subscription revenue account of 6,000. This balance was related to a 1 year subscription that started on October 1, 2009. So these are the series of questions that we are supposed to answer. Okay, so while we endeavor to answer the 7 questions that we have here, including a question on what the adjusting entry will be, so let's just follow the same steps that we did kanina, no, when we solved the shorter problems that we had. Okay, it would still lead us to the answers that are being asked for this question. Such as, for example, of course, we always start by asking what method was used. Okay, so in order for us to determine the method used, so basahan lang nato ang problem. It said here, basic company's unadjusted trial balance showed an unearned subscription revenue account. Okay, so unearned subscription revenue account. Therefore, what method was used by the business? The business actually used the liability method. No? Kaya according to the problem, ang unadjusted trial balance naman siya unearned subscription revenue. Meaning to say, during the time that they accepted this advance payment, it was all recorded to unearned subscription revenue. Okay? And dun sa ganito atong rule class, if liability method, what will we recognize in the adjusting entry? Okay, so if it's a liability method, in the adjusting entry, we are going to recognize so that's the answer, liability method. So in the adjusting entry, we are going to recognize the income. Okay, so kay i-recognize man na to ang income, that means i-credit na to ang income. So in question number 7 then, on the adjusting entry, we would already know no, that our entry would include a credit to the income account. So kay ang iyang liability account unearned subscription revenue man, so most likely the income account is subscription revenue. And then of course, kay hibaw naman ta sa credit, so obviously ang debit ana niya is the unearned subscription revenue account. Di pa nato siya pwede mabutang og amounts kay we still need to go through the computation man. Okay, but for now, you would notice sa pag-answer pa lang nato sa first question, nanatay sa what method was used. So nansira na nato si number 2 and partially si number 7. Okay, so next, what is the correct amount of the income? Tungod kay recognize the income man. No? So, what is the correct amount of the income at December 31? So, again, we have to again highlight no, nga ang iyang year end is December 31. Okay, year ended man, December 31, 2019. Another important thing nga atong bantayanan is that this 6,000 na unearned subscription revenue is good for 1 year. So, pila man na ka months ang 1 year? That's 12 months. So the coverage of the 6,000 is 1 year, and then this started October 1. Okay? So therefore, we first compute the monthly subscription revenues. To compute for the monthly subscription revenue, you have 6,000, and the 6,000 is good for 1 year. Therefore, our monthly subscription revenue is 500, which is actually the answer to number 1. So 500, and the answer to number 1. Okay, next. Let us now count the number of months. Count the number of months in the year nga na-earned na nato ang subscription contract. Okay? And then afterwards, we're going to count the number of months nga wala pa na-earn ang subscription contract. Okay? So, if you would notice, it started October 1. So we have to count from October 1 to December 31. Okay, that will represent the portion earned during the year. No, so kay 1 man na, so we have to include October in the counting. So October, November, December. Okay, so balikon ako kay October 1 man na, so apilon si October in the counting. October, November, December. That means our earned months, the number of months nga earned, okay, based on our counting is 3. Okay? Ano kay itong 3? Kay October, November, December. Nya bagahuman kay good for 1 year man na siya. No? So kung ang earned is 3 months, nya bagahuman good for 1 year or 12 months na siya. So meaning to say, pila naman ang unearned. So kung ang earned is 3 months, sorry, matigig-agi. That means the unearned is 9 months. Okay? This is your unearned. I really don't think you would be able to understand that. Ako na lang siyang i-erase class. Tsaka kayo. Okay, so ito lang i-erase. Anyway, we'll be able to find that here. So therefore, number of months earned is 3. and the number of months unearned is 9. So again, atong i-check, 9 months unearned plus 3 months earned is equal to 12 months, no? Which is the 1-year subscription period. Okay, so we can now have the answer for question number 3, number of months earned during the period 3, and then question number 5, number of months unearned is 9 months. So again, we remember that the contract commences on October 1. That's why we include the month of October in the counting. Okay, next. We then try to compute, no, kung pila man ang amount that is earned and the amount that is unearned. So the unearned portion, the monthly is 500, and there are 9 months unearned. So therefore, the total unearned amount is 4,500. That's 500 times 9 months. Kunya kay ang earned na to 3 months man, tag 500 per month man. So therefore, the earned portion is 500 times 3 months, or that is 1,500. So we now have the answer to question number 4, how much is the correct amount of the subscription revenue for the year 2019? So when you say subscription revenue, we're referring to the earned portion, that's 1,500. And as to the question of how much is the correct balance of the unearned subscription revenue, so the unearned portion is, we've already computed it at 4,500. And we need to complete our entry. No? So to complete the entry, we said liability method, therefore recognize the income or credit the income. Since we are recognizing the income, we will locate the amount related to the income. No? So ang income ay ato ang pangitaon. And since ang income na itong pangitaon, then we will go for the earned portion, and the earned portion is 1,500. So therefore, to complete our entry, the amount shall be 1,500. Debit unearned subscription revenue, credit subscription revenue. So see, as long as you get already the, or as long as maanad na mo, no, kung unsay mga important nga pang pangitaon and what needs to be computed, it will just fall into place. No man ang moingon ko ninyo nga, ayaw lang kayo ninyo pangunhi ang adjusting entries na lisod siya. No, kay the moment moingon ta nga lisod siya, mo lisod gid na siya. No, so if you would notice, no, if you just, get to go through the steps, no, hinumduman lang nimo, and then the logic behind the adjusting entries, no, it's actually not as difficult as we make it out to be. So, practice ra gyud na siya, para maanad ta. So, let's try to have another problem. This time, the problem of maid company. So, maid company's unadjusted trial balance for the year ended December 31, 2019 showed a repair revenue account of 4,200. So as we are reading along, akong pang-highlightan plus, no, ang mga important nga information, such as for example, ang year-end di ay niya is December 31, 2019. Therefore, unsay gigamit ani nga business, calendar year or fiscal year? So actually, this business used the calendar year. Calendar year siya tungod kay December 31 man iyang year-end. Okay? Now, it showed a repair revenue account. So, meaning to say, ang gigamit niya nga account di ay is a revenue account. Pagdawat niya sa original nga 4,200. The 4,200 kuno refers to a 1-year contract. Okay, and the 1-year contract is to provide repair services for a year that started on October 31. Okay, so naay mga important kaayo diri nga mga information. So ato pag yung i-underscore that is October 31. Okay, now for us to be able to answer the 7 questions, we just have to go through the usual process that we had. Number 1, what is the method used? And the method used is, if you would remember, no, if you would not necessarily remember, but if you would see in the problem, it said here, showed a repair revenue account. So we already know that the method used is the income method. Kung kung income method, ganun na siya, class. The rule is to in the adjusting entry, you will recognize the, sorry, so there's the answer, income method, no? Answer to question number 2. So income method man recognize the liability. In other words, credit the liability. So kung moingon kay ta class og recognize, adto gid na sa iyang normal balance, ha. So liability, normal balance, credit man. So credit the liability. So sa ato ang question number 7 on the adjusting entry, pwede na nato butangan, credit the liability. Unearned repair revenue. Yeah, obviously, ang partner na niya is repair revenue. Okay? Di pa na ito mabutangan og amount, kaya ang ta nag-compute. So, compute ta. What is the correct amount of, anong income man ni class? What is the correct amount of the liability? So, this should be, what is the correct amount of the, not income, but liability. Okay? Ay, sa mali nga agi class, No? So this is the correct amount of the liability. Di pa jud gi-complete. Liability. Wa na. Di ko kasabot sa kong agi. Okay. Baday rin gigad, baday din. No? Kaya nga nung liability man itong computon, kasi liability mo na itong gi-credit. Right? So, start by computing the monthly, what is this? Monthly repair revenue. So, the monthly revenue is, you have 4,200. Okay, asa nagikan si 4,200? Of course, given na siya dire. And the 4,200 is good for 1 year kuno yung coverage. So 4,200 divided by 12 months. So therefore, the monthly revenue is 350. So na natin answer sa number 1, 350. Now, we need to compute or to count how many months ang earned, how many months ang unearned. Okay? And to do that, we need to take notice of kanus ang mani magsugod ang inyahang contract to provide repair services. So nagsugod siya class of October 31. 31, that's the last day of the month. So therefore, kanus ang mata magsugod og ihap. Shall we include October in the counting? The answer is no. Dili na siya pinunog ihap miss kay 31 man na. No, di na siya pwede nga 1 month na. So ato ta magsugod og ihap sa November. So therefore, November, December. So kung atong gi-count class November and December sa ato pa, ang number of months earned is 2, right? So 2 months ang earned, November and December. Ya kung 2 months ang earned, unya ang contract is good for 1 year or 12 months, ato pa pila ka months ang unearned. So, ang unearned, therefore, is good for 10 months. Okay? So, 10 months unearned, and then 2 months earned. Again, di yun may tsura akong agi class. Batian na din ako kaagi class. Atong pang-reason kay mauwaw ta. Okay? So, 2 months earned, and then 10 months unearned. So, based on this, mansira na din nato si question number 3. That's 2 months ang imuhang earned during the year. Unya, question number 5, how many months of the repair contract is still unearned? So that will be 10. Okay, so remember again that the contract commences on October 31. Okay, so from here, pwede na din ta mag-compute. So the unearned portion is 350, kaya may monthly times 10 months unearned. So therefore, the unearned is 35. The earned portion then is 350 per month times 2 months, kay 2 months naman ang earned, and so therefore the earned portion is 700. So na natin answer sa question number 4. How much is the correct amount of repair revenue? So repair revenue refers to the earned portion, so 700. How much is the correct balance of the unearned repair revenue? So unearned refers to the 3,500. And to complete our entry, because we said credit the liability, so let us look for the amount of the liability. And the amount of the liability is the unearned portion, which is 3,500. So that is why our entry is debit repair revenue and then credit unearned repair revenue. Okay, so I hope it's really getting easier, no, by each problem that we have solved. Okay, and I hope this somehow helps. So let's have the next problem. Easy Company's unadjusted trial balance for the year ended August 30, 2019. Okay, bantayan class ha. Okay, possible ni siya nga gitest mo sa examiner, no, kung nabantayan ba ninyo nga August 30, 2019, no? So we have to be very alert to the details that are given to us. So meaning to say, class, iyang year end is August 30, 2019. So therefore, kung August 30, 2019 na, then this client actually uses a fiscal year. No? Sa fiscal year, class, kay August 30, 2019 man na, sa to pa, ang kani siya nga particular year class, no? Kani nga period nga iyang gigamit, nagsugod ni siya og September 1, kung suwayag suwat class ha, balag ba di kayo kagi, September 1, 2018, no? Unya mo end siya class og August 31, pero 31 days man ta ng August. Nato lason doon. August 30, 2019. So ato ko nung iphon class kung 12 months ba na. Okay, September 1 man, 1. Sa to pa apilon og ihap ang September, right? September, October, November, December 2018. Therefore then January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. No? August 30 up to August 30. No? So mo nang 12 months niya. Okay, so ang year end niya class is August 30, 2019. Again, kung ganahan mong long cut, para taas as gamay inyong pag-ihap, no? So that's September 1 to the last day of September 2018. Then October 1 to October 30, October 31 rather, November 1 to November 30, December 1 to December 31, January 1 to, and so on until maabot mo August 30. And then you would have arrived still at 12 months. Okay, 1 year is always 12 months, regardless of kung saan siya nagsugod. Okay, so this client uses a fiscal year. Okay, I think I should practice how to write in class. Fiscal Sige, may tsura class. Sige lang, fiscal year. Okay? Sige. So, let us now go to answering the questions para and that way we'll be able to have the answers for questions 1 to 7. So, first question we always ask is, what was the method used? And because according to the problem on Easy Company's unadjusted trial balance for the year ended August 31 showed an unearned fees account. Unearned fees. So therefore, what method was used? Unearned fees man. So that is the liability method. And our rule, here, the answer then to number 2 is liability method. And our rule, kung liability method gani na, you recognize the, unsay recognize gani class, kung liability method? Recognize the revenue. So therefore, credit the revenue or the income. Okay? So now we get to count. Sorry. Kaya kabaw naman ta nga credit the revenue, pwede na nato ni masuwatan ang ato ang adjusting entry partially, no? So credit the revenue, so fees earned. And of course, ang partner niya is unearned fees. Blank sa nato ang amounts kaya pang ta nag-compute. Okay, so let us now compute for the correct amount of income or the correct amount of revenue. So how do we do that? First, we take from the given information, pila ang total amount, no? At to iyahang unearned fees relevant to this particular contract to provide architecture services. So that is 10,500 and the 10,500 is good for, so it's in the problem, it's good for 6 months. Okay, so 10,500 divided by 6 months. Remember class that when you compute for the monthly revenue, dapat tanawon sa nato sa problem kung unsay coverage ana niya ha. Is it 9 months? Is it 12 months? Is it 6 months? Sometimes gani class kay it can be more than a year, no? So sometimes makakita mo diha 36 months for 3 years, no? So tanawon po na nato siya sa problem. Okay, so we now have the monthly revenue. So we have the answer to question number 1. The monthly revenue is 1,750. Okay, and then now we start counting. Okay, but this time class bantayanan nga inig-ihap na to when we count, dili taman December ha? When we count, taman ra sa August 30. Diri ra, August 30 ra. Nganong August 30 man? Nganong August 30 man? Because August 30 man ang year-end. No? So, count matataman sa year-end. And we start counting from August 1. No? So, ang kadtong iyahang contract to provide architecture services, mag-start og August 1. Nya pagkahuman, ang year-end dayon niya kay August 30 dayon. So, my question is, from August 1 to August 30, pila na kabuwan? August 1 to August 30, mas pagtan-awan nyo ang kalendaryo, that is 1 month. No? So meaning to say, 1 month earned, no? So 1 month na ang earned na to, kunya kay good for 6 months man na siya, so pila ka months ang unearned. So therefore, kay 1 month earned man, so 5 months ang unearned. No? So 5 plus 1 is 6. Okay? And so therefore, in this instance, we can have number of months earned 1, number of months unearned 5. Maka-compute na din, maka-answer na din ta class, no? Question number 3. How many months of the contract was earned? Only 1, and that is August 1 to August 30. No others, kay anad kita nga December. So, have August, September, October, November, December, no? So, be careful. Muna kung gingon bantayan, with ninyo ang year-end niya. Okay? And then, the number of months for question number 5, still unearned is 5. Okay? Remember that the year-end is August 30. Okay? Now, let's try to compute. Unearned portion, that's 1,750 per month, and the number of months unearned is 5 months. So therefore, the total unearned portion is 8,750. And then the earned portion is 1,750 per month, and the earned month number of months is only 1. So therefore, the earned portion is 1,750. So the question now is, asa ang amount, mansira na nato si question number 4. Correct amount of fees earned, that's only 1,750, good for 1 month. And the correct balance of the unearned fees account at the end of the year is 8,750. Mo na ang unearned portion. Okay? So, now to complete our entry. unsa man nga amount ang ato ang pick up on ani, no? So do we pick up the 8,750 or do we pick up the 1,750? So to determine that, and how nato balik atong rule, no? Kay liability method man, in the adjusting entry we have to credit the revenue. So kay revenue man, pangitaon to nato ang revenue portion, which is actually the earned portion. So therefore, the amount for our entry is 1,750. Okay, so debit unearned fees, credit fees earned for 1,750. Okay, sige. I hope na hinay-hinay na og kana siyang appreciate class, ha? So now, let's go to our, I think this is the last three problems na, no? So let's start with book company. So book company's unadjusted trial balance for the year ended December 31, 2009 showed a prepaid insurance account. So this time, dili na ta pre-collection, no? Rather, ari na ta sa prepayment of expense. So mag-highlight ta class, no? Mga important na information. So first important information, December 31 ang year-end. Second important information, ang unadjusted balance is under the prepaid insurance account. Third important information, the amount pertaining to this is 20,050. Next important information, the 22,050 is good for 9 months. Okay? And then, another important information, the coverage started on July 1. Okay? Sige. So let us now answer the following questions. What method was used? Because the prepaid insurance account was the one which appeared in the unadjusted trial balance, that means that the method used is the asset method. Okay, kanang prepaid insurance, asset mo na siya, right? So this is the asset method. So in answer to question number 2, the method used is the asset method. Now, if it is the asset method class, so remember our rule. Kung asset method ganina siya, you have to recognize the, say recognize class kung asset method, you have to recognize the expense. And again, when we say recognize, that means we go to the normal balance. Sorry, I had to drink water. And the normal balance of an expense is a debit. So therefore, kibaw na ta sa atong adjusting entry in question number 7, nga natay i-debit nga expense. No? And because it's prepaid insurance, so ang expense ana niya is insurance expense. And we know, of course, the partner to that is prepaid insurance. Okay, so wala say amount. Wala say amount. Okay, so partial pa man. So next, let us now compute what is the correct amount of the expense, okay, at December 31. To do that, we need to compute the monthly insurance expense. And to compute the monthly insurance expense, no, again, we would only need the total amount, no, of premium paid and then the coverage. So that's 22,050 divided by 9 months. So that means per month na ay mo expire, no, nga insurance, that is worth 2,450. Kadiyot lang kinsa kay wrong na siya class. Dili na siya monthly revenue. That is your monthly expense. Monthly insurance expense. Okay? So monthly insurance expense is 2,450. So we now have the answer to question number 1. Okay? Next. Ato na pong ipon class, no? Pila ka months ang insurance nga na-expire during the year, ya pila ka months ang wala pa na-expire. So, kanusa nagsugod ang coverage sa insurance? Nagsugod siya July 1. Kanusa ang year-end? Nag-year-end ta og December 31. So, therefore, class, kung July 1 na siya, apilon si July o dili? Ha? July 1 man. Apilon si July or dili? Apilon. Kay July 1 man, no? So, include July. So, you have July, August, September, October, November, December. So, that means for 2019, ang na-expired na nga insurance is good for 6 months. I repeat, that's July, August, September, October, November, December. So, gi-appeal si July tungod kay July 1 man na siya, no? Ang start sa iyang coverage. And the year end is December 31. So, therefore, kung sa ato apang counting, 6 months na class ang iyahang expired, no? Unya kay 9 months man ang atong insurance premium coverage. So therefore, pila ang unexpired? That should be 3 months. Okay, para 6 plus 3 will give you 9 months. Okay, so number of months consumed, that's 6. Number of months unused or unconsumed or unexpired, sometimes no, ang term nga ilang gamiton is expired, no? Unexpired is 3. So we now have the answer to question number 3. How many months of the insurance was unused or unexpired? So we know that the unexpired is 3. And the answer to number 5, how many months of the premium has been consumed or has been expired? No? So we also know that unconsumed or expired is 6 months. Okay? Next, what we do is we now compute. So the unused portion or the unexpired portion, which represents the asset portion, no, is 2,450 per month times 3 months. Kay 3 months man ang unused or ang unexpired. No? And the unused portion or the asset portion is 7,350. Now, in contrast to that, the expense portion, which represents the expired portion of your insurance, is good for 6 months. Ganisa, 6 months. So therefore, you will have 2,450 times 6 months. So the expense portion is 14,700. Okay, so just to check class, 7,350 plus 14,700 should give you 22,050. So ito ko na i-check class. 14,700 plus 7,350 is 22,050. Very good. Then 6 months plus 3 months is 9 months. Okay, so now we now have the answer to question number 4. How much is the correct amount of the insurance expense? No, so by expense man. So since we are looking for the expense, we go for the expense portion, which is 14,700. Next, pila kuno ang amount sa prepaid insurance. So when you say prepaid insurance, that's the unused, no? That's the asset portion. So the prepaid insurance correct balance is 7,350. So now to complete our entry, because our entry said, because our rule said if it's the asset method, in the adjusting entry, we have to recognize the expense. Because in the original entry, puro ra asset tanan. So karon time na ni expense na mo shine. And so therefore, debit the expense. So when we debit the expense, we look for the expense amount. And the expense amount is 14,700. So our entry will be debit insurance expense, 14,700, and prepaid insurance credit for 14,700. So if you notice, if you know the rule, then kung unsa imong gi-recognize mo na siya mong pangitaon na amount. Okay, and that's the amount that you will plug in your adjusting entry. Okay, so let's try another problem. This time, we're going to try fan company. So, fan company's unadjusted trial balance, highlight na po important portion sa for the year ended December 31. So, year end is December 31. The client uses a calendar year. Showed a rent expense. So, ang gigamit niya is rent expense. Account of 8,920. This balance was related to an 8-month lease, okay, on a photography equipment. The lease started on December 31. Okay, so important information highlighted already. Let us answer the question, what method was used? So to determine the method used, we go back to the problem, and the problem said that it recognized rent expense. So therefore, the method used is the expense method. So we now have the answer to question number 2, expense method. And if it's the expense method, then the rule is we recognize the expense method class. And say recognize, we recognize the asset. And again, when we say recognize, that means we follow the normal balance. And the normal balance of an asset is a debit. So that means in our adjusting entry, we will debit the asset. Okay, so kabaw na ta sa adjusting entry. Ang debit yun na prepaid rent. So therefore, ang partner na rent expense man yun. So credit rent expense. Okay, no amounts yet. No amounts yet. Next, we will now try to compute the correct amount of the expense. Or in this case, tungod kay asset method money, no? So, sorry, let me just set the pen. Okay, asset method money, let's compute for the correct amount of the asset. Okay, sige, asset. Okay, so naman ni class, masa kasabot ng mga asset. Okay, and to do that, we need to compute first the monthly expense. Okay, so the amount is 8,920, and 8,920 is good for 8 months. So to get the monthly rent expense, just divide 8,920 by 8 months. So therefore, the monthly, ano revenue man ni class? Uy, wala man na-edit. Sorry kay class ha. The monthly expense rather, okay? Tapos yung ganahan na ko mo showcase akong bati kay nga agi. I don't know. Okay. So the monthly expense is 1,115. So we now have the answer to question number 1. 1115. Okay, next, let us now count the number of months. Okay, mao gyud niya itong favorite sa adjusting entry. Count the number of months. Kano saan nagsugod? December 1. 1 class. 1. So, kay December 1, that means that pilon si December, dili. December 1 man. December 1 man. Apilon si December, dili. Apilon. Right? Apilon siya kay 1 man. So therefore, count ko no class. From December 1 to December 31, pila na kabuwan? Sige, tanawa ang kalendaryo. December 1 to December 31, that is only 1 month. No? So therefore, 1 month class ang expired na. No? So 1 month ang expired, niya 8 months man ni. So therefore, to complete the 8-month list, so 1 month expired, 7 months unexpired. So, in-count na to, number of months consumed, number of months unused or unconsumed or unexpired, no? So, 7. So, 1 plus 7 is 8, which is the total number of months on the list. Okay? So, we now have an answer to question number 3. How many months of the rent was unused or unexpired? So, that is 7. And how many months has been consumed? Advance rental payment. Now, how many months of the advance rental payment has been consumed or has expired? So only 1 month. Okay, December 1 naman. So December 1 to December 30. Okay, then we compute the unused portion is good for 7 months at 1,115 per month. That means the total unused or the asset portion, kay unused man, is 7,805. Of course, the expense portion is good for 1 month only. So that's 1,115. So question number 4, how much is the correct amount of rent expense? So we know the rent expense is only 1,115. And then question number 6, the correct balance of the prepaid rent, which refers to the unearned portion, is 7,805. So now we can complete our entry. So our entry is, let's go back to what was the method used, expense method, therefore recognize the asset. So ang pangitaon na to class is the asset. So between 7805 and 1115, asaan ni ang asset? Di ba ang asset ani is the 7805, kaya mo na ang unused portion. So debit the prepaid rent, 7805, credit the rent expense, 7805. Okay? Sige, mas balik-balik lang tag-practice ani class, more or less you will be getting the hang of it na. No? Dili na kaya mo mag. Okay? So, let's go to mass company. I think mass company is the last company, no, sa ato ang practice set. So, mass company, let's try to highlight some important information. So, mass company's unadjusted trial balance for the year ended September 30. Okay, so nanapod class, no? Ang gigamit ani niya is a fiscal year. So, kung katong i-trace class, ang fiscal year ni end mag-September 30, 2019, that means ang start ani niya class is October 1, 2018. No? And then, all the way to September 30, 2019. Gusto mo ni class? September 13, 2019. So, ato ipang class ha, 1 year pagid na siya. So, October 1 man. So, apilo ng October. No? So, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. No? So, apilo sa September kay 30 man sila. So, therefore, this is good for 12 months. Okay? So, the client man, the business uses a fiscal year. So, important ni siya because later when we count, we have to stop at September. Okay? Inihap na to, dapat kutubra sa September. Dili mo lahos o December ha, kay ang year-end ani niya September. Okay, next important information that the September 30 unadjusted trial balance actually showed a rent expense account. Rent expense account. And the amount is 10,500. Okay, this particular account refers to a 6-month rental. Okay, and the 6-month rental started on August 1. So, ano yung mga important nga information? So, let's start. What was the method used? Tungod kay rent expense no, ang i-appear sa unadjusted trial balance. That means ang method na gigamit is the expense method. So the answer to question number 2 is expense method. Okay? So, since we already know it's the expense method, let's lay down sa ang rule niya. Kung expense method ganina siya, in the adjusting entry, we have to recognize the asset. Again, when we say recognize, that means we go to the normal balance. So to recognize the asset, we will debit the asset. Okay? So now that we have learned that our adjusting entry will include a debit to asset, let us write our adjusting entry partially then. Debit the asset, prepaid rent, and then credit, of course, ang partner niya, which is rent expense. So no amounts yet. Okay? So next, let us now compute for the correct amount of the expense. Or in this case, tungod kay we are going to record the expense, the asset man. Okay, so compute the correct amount of the asset. Goodness, my handwriting is this. Okay, asset. Okay, so how do we do that? First, we get the monthly amount. So to get the monthly amount, you have here the total, which is 10,500. Okay, may relevant niya. And then ang iyang coverage is only good for 6 months. So therefore, 10,500 divided by, anong 8 months man ni class? Wait lang ka sa 10,500 divided by 6 months. No? So kung 6 months rin yung class din ni 8 months. Okay? So, di ba, para feel good kayo nato nga nato sa classroom. Kung sa chalkboard pa ni or whiteboard pa ni, niya kung gisuwat, niya kung gi-erase, masuko din. Okay, so that's 6 months ha. 6 months class ha. Kay kaniman 6 months. Anyway, if you compute 10,500 divided by 6 months, that will give you 1,750. This is not the monthly revenue. I am really so sorry, class, no? Kailangan magud ako ra magud katong i-discuss from the LMS niya. Ako man gimong mo ang PowerPoint. Aron ko no hay indot siya tanawon. Ni na dito yung mga wa na edit. I hope you can forgive me. Charot. Okay, so the monthly expense is 1,750. So the answer to question number 1, 1,750. Okay, next we start counting, no? So, pila man ka months ang na-consume during the year. Remember that the year ends September 30. And then this particular contract started on August 1. Okay, so August 1 man, 1. Apilon si August, dili. Apilon. Okay, August 1 man. So therefore, August and then September. No? So even if you look at the calendar, August 1 to August 31, that's 1 month. September 1 to September 30, that's another month. And so therefore, ang total months ang imuhang nang na-used, no? Ang imuhang rental on the office space is 2 months. Nya kay 2 months man ang na-used, nya 6 months man na siya ang total, so that means 4 months ang wala pa na expire, no? Or wala pa na used. So therefore, number of months consumed, 2. Number of months unconsumed, unexpired, or unused is 4. Okay? So 4 plus 2 equals the 6-month coverage. Alright? Sige. So we have the answer to question number 3. How many months is unused? 4, and then how many months of the advance rental is consumed? That's only 2. Again, remember the year end is September 30. Next, mag-compute na rin ta. No, so ang unused portion is good for 4 months at 1,750 per month. So that means that's 7,000. The used portion, which represents the expense portion, is only good for 2 months at 1,750 per month. So that means 3,500. Okay, so how much is the correct amount of rent expense for 2019? Rent expense is, asaan is rent expense, class? Rent expense is the 3,500. Of course, the question number 6, how much is the correct balance of the prepaid rent? So the prepaid rent should be the 7,000. So to complete our entry, okay, so unsa man nga amount ang atong pick upon? Should it be the 7,000 or the 3,500? Remember, the expense method was used. And kung expense method gani, we have to recognize the asset, therefore debit the asset, therefore pangitaon na to si asset. So asa man si asset ani? 7,000 or 3,500? Of course, ang asset ani si 7,000. So therefore, our entry will be debit prepaid rent 7,000 and then credit rent expense 7,000. Okay? And that is the answer to, or those are the answers to our practice set. Okay, so at this point, I would like to again encourage you, no, to go back to the practice set. Kung napay mga nakalibgan nga parts, no, if ever na may na-discuss sa inyong na-discuss sa inyong what do you call this one, study buddies, no, and you'd like to be clarified of those things, so you could go back and meet them. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to comment, no, in the Facebook page where this video is linked to. So, as our attendance, di ba, pagsugod, akong giba attendance ninyo, ni anak ko sa Facebook page, inyong isuwat, kung inyong i-comment kung sa inyong experience, no, sa adjusting entries in the senior high. So, auto atong log in. So, for our lockout, para ma-check na ko inyong attendance and tanaw din mali nga video. So in the Facebook page, again, in the Facebook post where this video is linked, ang inyong na pong i-comment dito is kung na mo'y question, you can comment the question. Pero kung wala mo'y question, then just tell me how you found the discussion. If it was clear ba or napagoy na laibgan nga part, na mo'y ganahan ipa-clarify, etc. etc. Okay, so please do not forget to log out in this video, no, sa comment section sa Facebook na to. And don't forget also na nilog-in mo dapat atong first video na to by answering the question of unsa ang inyong experience ani sa. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you very much for attending our virtual class, although dili siya synchronous, no? And I hope somehow I was able to help clarify, the concepts of deferrals for you. Okay, so thank you very much, and please await my other announcements in the Facebook page because dili pa man ta pwede magklase ini Wednesday. Okay, sige class. Bye-bye for now. Thank you very much.